Hey everyone. Throwaway account for obvious reasons. I, 34M, have been married to my wife, 32F, for 7 years, together for 10. We've had what I'd call a normal marriage, ups, downs, the usual stress of life, but nothing that ever felt like a red flag. At least, not until about 6 months ago. My wife started struggling with anxiety and burnout. She works in education, so yeah, long days, not enough pay, emotionally draining. I supported her the best I could, encouraged her to take mental health days, even pushed her to talk to someone when she felt she was slipping. Eventually, she found a counselor through a friend of a friend and started weekly sessions. I was relieved. I thought, good. She's finally getting the help she needs. At first, she came home looking lighter. Happier. I was thrilled. She said the sessions were life-changing and that her counselor just gets her. I remember thinking, wow, therapy really works. But then, things got weird. She started getting defensive when I'd ask about her sessions, not in a I want all the details way, but like, hey, how did it go today? And she'd snap, it's private, can you respect that? I chalked it up to her processing emotions. I didn't want to push. Everyone's therapy experience is different, right? But it wasn't just that. She started dressing up more than usual on her therapy days. Not just I want to feel good dressed up, but like, new lipstick, perfume, even shaving her legs on random Tuesday mornings. I know that sounds weird, but you notice these things when you've been together as long as we have. Then there were the phone calls, short, quiet ones where she'd leave the room and come back looking flustered. I asked her once who she was talking to, and she just said, work stuff, and brushed me off. The signs were there. I just didn't want to believe them. Alright, so picking up from where I left off. One Thursday afternoon, I came home early from work. Totally unplanned, there was a water main break at the office, so they sent everyone home. I didn't text her that I was on my way, figured I'd surprise her and maybe we'd do lunch together. When I got home, her car was in the driveway, which was weird because she told me she had a double session that day. I figured maybe she got back early. But when I walked in, the house was dead quiet. I called out, didn't get an answer. I noticed her phone on the kitchen counter, screen up. And it buzzed. Not once, not twice, but like 5 times in rapid succession. Curiosity got the better of me. I know, don't go through your partner's phone. But something in my gut said, look. What I saw made my stomach drop. The texts were from a contact saved as just D. They were flirtatious. One of them literally said, still thinking about yesterday. You looked so good on that couch. Wish I didn't have another client after you smirking face. The last message was a selfie, nothing explicit, but definitely too personal. Him in what looked like his office, shirt slightly unbuttoned, with the caption, miss this already. My heart was pounding so loud I thought I might pass out. I stood there staring at the screen like it would magically rewrite itself. I wanted it to be a misunderstanding. A prank. Something anything other than what it clearly was. That's when I realized D was her counselor. And I was standing in my kitchen, reading proof that the person who was supposed to be helping her heal was helping himself to my wife. So, yeah. I was standing in the kitchen, heart hammering in my chest, staring at my wife's phone like it just punched me in the face. I didn't even know what to do. I'm not the type to explode, never have been, but I could feel the rage boiling under the shock. I put the phone down like it was toxic and sat at the table, waiting. My palms were sweating, I was nauseous. All I could think was she lied to me, with her therapist? About 30 minutes later, she came in through the back door, surprised to see me. She smiled, dropped her keys on the counter like it was just another Thursday. I said, hey. How was your session? She looked at me weird and said, good. Why are you home? I told her what happened at work, but I didn't even wait for her to respond. I just said it. I saw your phone. I know what's going on. Her face changed instantly like someone flipped a switch. All the blood drained from her cheeks. She stammered, what are you talking about? I repeated myself, more firmly this time. I saw the messages from D. The guy who's supposed to be your counselor. How long has this been happening? That's when the waterworks started. Full-on sobbing. She didn't even try to deny it. She kept saying things like, "It just happened. I didn't plan for this. He understood me in ways you never did. You don't know what it's like feeling so emotionally alone." I was stunned. Like, was she actually justifying this? I asked, "Do you even realize how messed up this is? He's your therapist. That's a violation on so many levels." She cried harder. Said it started emotionally and then blurred into something else. She claimed she was confused and didn't know how to end it without losing the only person who made her feel seen. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My wife, the woman I built a life with, was in an affair with the one person I thought would help save our marriage. I didn't scream. I didn't throw things. I just sat there, numb, while she cried and tried to rewrite reality. After the confrontation, she kept crying like the victim. Like I had done something to her. She tried to spin it as this emotional crisis, said she never meant to hurt me, that she felt so lost and D just filled a space that was empty. I didn't sleep that night. She did, on the couch. I didn't tell her to, she just sort of gravitated there after I shut the bedroom door. The silence in the house was suffocating. I kept playing everything over in my head, her smile after those sessions, the excuses, the deflection, all of it suddenly made sense. But even with all the anger, what hurt most was that I was starting to realize I'd lost her long before I found those messages. That weekend was probably the most surreal 48 hours of my life. We didn't speak much. When we did, it was short and tense. She tried a couple times to approach me, saying we should talk it through or maybe go to counseling together. I couldn't even look at her without feeling sick. At one point she said, "I think part of me did it to get your attention." Like, what? So cheating on me with a professional you were supposed to trust was some kind of desperate love letter? I didn't even respond. I just walked out of the room. I started noticing all these details that added to the sting. Her new clothes. The perfume she never used to wear. A playlist I found on her phone titled Breathe Deep, and I recognized none of the songs. She was already building a world outside of me. So after that silent, tension-packed weekend, I couldn't just sit in the dark anymore. I needed answers. Not just from her, because clearly, I wasn't going to get the full truth, but from anywhere I could. I started with the most obvious thing, her calendar. She's always used a shared Google Calendar for appointments, dinner plans, work events, the usual. I pulled it up and scrolled back a couple months. Turns out, she'd been seeing the counselor more than twice a week on some weeks, once even 3 times in 5 days. One of those days, I remember she told me she had dinner with a coworker. I even made her lunch to take to work that day. I felt like the biggest idiot on earth. But it gets worse. I decided to look this guy up. Just a first name and city, but that was enough. Found him on LinkedIn, then his private practice site. Reviews. Photos. I recognized the stupid smug grin from the selfie he sent her. And then I found his Instagram. Public. I wish I hadn't looked. Because there, buried in a carousel of photos from a wellness retreat in the woods, was my wife. Blurry, but unmistakably her. Side profile, laughing around a fire pit with a wine glass. He'd tagged no one, but I knew it was her same scarf, same jacket she claimed she lost on a work trip 2 weeks ago. She wasn't at a hotel conference in Chicago like she told me. She was with him. At some soul healing, yoga meditation cuddle circle retreat with the guy who was supposed to fix her, not her star. I felt like I was in a bad movie. Like I was watching my own life fall apart in slow motion and couldn't do a thing about it. After seeing that photo of my wife, cozy around a campfire with her counselor, something inside me just snapped. The shock had worn off. The sadness had numbed over. All that was left was clarity. Cold, burning clarity. She wasn't just cheating. She was invested in this guy. Lying straight to my face, booking trips, building intimacy, hell, probably practicing her breathing exercises between sessions with him. So I decided, I'm not begging. I'm not crying anymore. I'm not talking it through. I'm done being the guy she walks over while she finds herself in someone else's lap. I started by getting legal advice. Quietly. Found a divorce attorney and booked a consultation. Took screenshots of everything, the messages, the photos, her calendar entries. I made backups on 2 flash drives and a cloud folder. If this was going to get ugly, I was going to be ready. I also reached out to the state therapy board. Yeah, you read that right. See what he did. That's not just unethical, it's illegal in some places. Most states have strict rules about therapists getting romantically or sexually involved with clients, and even after the therapy ends, there's a mandatory buffer period. This guy was playing with fire professionally. I didn't tell her. Not yet. I just let her keep thinking I was in emotional limbo. Meanwhile, I was building a paper trail. And then, like fate was throwing me a bone, I found something else. A receipt. In her purse. From a hotel. Not the retreat, but from 2 weekends before that, the same weekend she claimed she was at her sister's helping with a baby shower. She'd paid for the room. Full name. Last 4 digits of her card. No hiding it. It hit me again, she chose this. Over and over again. I waited for the right moment. Not out of some strategic master plan, but because I knew if I confronted her too early, she'd do what she always does, cry, deflect, twist the story, and suddenly I'm the one who ends up apologizing for not understanding her. Nah. Not this time. So that Tuesday night, after she got home from another late meeting, I sat her down. I told her calmly, too calmly, honestly, that I knew everything. Not just the messages. Not just the emotional affair. The retreat. The hotel. The lie about her sister's baby shower. The fact that I filed a complaint with the therapy board. Her face went blank. Like she couldn't decide if she should play the victim again, or get mad that I had the nerve to investigate her holy spiritual journey with Dr. Feelgood. And then she said it, the most infuriating, delusional thing I've ever heard come out of a human mouth. Maybe if you had supported me emotionally the way he did, this wouldn't have happened. That was it. I laughed. Like, full-on disbelief laugh. I said, you mean support you while you lie to me, cheat on me, gaslight me, and drag our entire marriage through the mud while pretending it's about your inner healing? She had no words. Just tears. Crocodile ones this time. Not because she was sorry, but because she knew the game was over. I wasn't chasing her anymore. I told her I'd be staying with a friend for a while, and that she should consider moving out before the divorce papers hit her inbox. She asked if there was any chance we could rebuild. I asked her if she thought rebuilding meant she'd keep texting her therapist on the side while I went back to pretending none of this happened. Didn't get an answer. So I packed a bag. Just the essentials. Some clothes, laptop, documents. Left her the house for now. I didn't want the drama of splitting stuff while emotions were nuclear. I had a buddy from college, Josh, who offered me his guest room. Said, bro, my fridge is full and my Xbox is on. Just say the word. Legend. The second I stepped out of the house, I swear, I felt lighter. Angry, yeah. Sad, for sure. But also, free. I wasn't walking away from a marriage. I was escaping a prison where I kept giving chances to someone who didn't respect me enough to even tell the truth. And then, the meltdown started. I hadn't even been at Josh's place for a full 24 hours when the text started flooding in. I can't believe you're doing this. You're just giving up on everything we built? I made a mistake, okay? One mistake. You're blowing this out of proportion. He didn't mean anything. I think I'm pregnant. Yeah. That last one? That hit like a freight train. Suddenly, I wasn't angry. I was numb again. I called her immediately. She didn't pick up. Just texted me, "I don't want to talk when you're like this." Like this? Woman, you just dropped a potential baby bombshell after cheating on me with your therapist, and I'm the one being unreasonable? I didn't even know what to think. Was she lying to manipulate me into staying? Was it even mine? Was it his? Hell, I didn't even know if she was really pregnant or just panicking. What I did know, she was spiraling now. And I wasn't about to get dragged back into her emotional black hole unless I had hard facts. So after her "I think I'm pregnant" text, I went from numb to full-on detective again. My first thought was, she's bluffing. Just another emotional Hail Mary to reel me back in. But on the off chance she wasn't lying, I needed to be smart about this. I texted her back. "If that's true, we'll confirm it together. I'm not doing this over text." No reply for hours. Then finally. "Fine. I'll take a test." 2 days later, she sends a photo of a positive pregnancy test. Followed by, "I wanted to tell you in person, but you left." Like, really? This was going to be the olive branch? A child conceived during an affair? At that point, I told her plainly, "I want a paternity test." No discussions. No arguments. And that's when the real meltdown hit. She accused me of being cruel, of reducing a beautiful thing into some science experiment, said she didn't know how we got to this place. Lady. We got here because you opened your heart, your trauma, and your legs to the same man and then lied about it repeatedly. I held my ground. If I'm the father, I'll take responsibility. But I'm not signing up to raise a therapist's kid while you work through your emotions. And guess what? Paternity test came back. Not mine. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just sat there and let the weight of it settle in my chest like concrete. She looked stunned. Like she genuinely thought it might be mine. I think in her head, she was trying to force a narrative that we had a baby on the way, and maybe this nightmare could just fade into something meant to be. But reality hit her like a truck. She'd ruined our marriage. And now she had a permanent connection to her therapist. So yeah, that paternity test? That was the final nail in the coffin. There was no screaming match. No big emotional climax. Just silence. A long, heavy silence where two people who once said forever realized they had absolutely nothing left to say. She tried, once more, to spin it into something poetic. Said she was confused, lost, broken. That the counselor understood her in ways I never did. That maybe the baby was a sign. A sign of what, exactly? That you can blow up your life and expect everyone else to clean up the wreckage? Nah. I told her I wished her peace. Not happiness, because she's going to have to live with the consequences of all this. But peace. For the baby, more than anything. I filed for divorce the next day. She moved in with her sister temporarily. From what I hear, things between her and the counselor didn't last long. Surprise, surprise, a man who takes advantage of emotionally vulnerable clients doesn't exactly make for stable stepdad material. As for me, I'm doing better than I expected. I'm not rushing into anything. I'm reconnecting with friends, picked up an old hobby I forgot I loved, photography, and I actually like coming home to peace and quiet now. This whole mess taught me a few things, and if you're reading this and going through something similar, here's what I want you to hear. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't ignore red flags just because you love someone. That love doesn't protect you, it just makes it hurt more. People show you who they are when they think you're not watching. Believe them. And most of all, you are not crazy for expecting loyalty, honesty, and respect. That's bare minimum. Thanks to everyone who's read this far. I didn't write this for sympathy, I wrote it because I wish I'd seen something like this before I got in too deep. You're not alone. And you're allowed to walk away from people who burn everything you built just to feel something.